welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, I like reading romance, fantasy romance, paranormal romance, any kind of genre of romance in general. And I also happen to have cerebral palsy, and it would mean the world to me if you would subscribe to my channel. Happy Friday! Filming this on March 1st, so happy 1st of March. It also happens to be my birthday month. My birthday is March 10th. I will link my February mid-month wrap-up down below in the description in case you want to hear about all the books that I read at the beginning of February. All in all, I read 32 books in the month of February. First couple books I will run through really quickly because there were historical romances from Stacy Reid that I went into detail about. I read 3 popular Stacy Reid books because my favorite booktubers really like Stacy Reid, and I wanted to read her books. I'll leave that video down below in the description if you want to know my full thoughts, but I will just tell you the ratings. And also, the first couple of fantasy books that I'm going to mention, it's the second book in a series, so I really can't go into detail because it will spoil the book. My Darling Duke, I gave 5 stars. That is my favorite Stacy Reid book so far. My Darling Duke is 5 stars. It's a scarred hero, and I loved it. Accidentally Compromising the Duke, I gave 4 stars. Matter of Temptation, I gave 5 stars. Again, if you want to know the full thoughts about these books, please click the link down below in the description. Fallen Gods, Children of Fallen Gods, which is book 2 in the War of Hearts trilogy, I gave 5 stars. I liked it better than the first book, which is Daughter of No World. I'm going to read the 3rd book this month, so I'll hopefully finish the trilogy. I liked Children of Fallen Gods better because romance was more prominent in book 2 than it was in book 1. Court of Silver Flames, I reread this for the SJM along. It is Nesta's story. It is the 5th book in her Court of Thorns and Roses series, and I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. Of Flesh, A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, which is book 2 in Jennifer L. Armentrout's From Blood and Ash series, and it is about Poppy, who's a blessed maiden who's waiting for her Ascension Day, and she gets a new bodyguard, Hawk, and it's their story. And I read book 2, and I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I read this book because I'm taking part in the From Blood and Ash read-along, and I also read this book because of Jess from Honest Fiction. She's the first person I heard talk about from Blood and Ash, and I was kind of weary because I didn't like Jennifer L. Armistrout's Wicked series, but Jess kept talking about it in her videos, so I decided to take part in the read-along. Kiss of Steel by Beth McMasters. Kiss of Steel is a fantasy romance historical steampunk. We have this high society called Blue Bloods, and there are sort of like vampires, but not really. They take blood tax from people. You only become a full vampire if you take too much blood from a person, and Blaze, the hero, is part of the high society, but he differs from it because he doesn't like how the society is run. So he is like the king of like the underground basically, and he's like a vampire, and the heroine is running away from a blue royal that's after her and her siblings because her father died, and her father left her with his research of how to fix the infected people, how to reverse the vampirism, and so she's on the run, and she goes to Blaze for protection. Lord of the Fading Lands, and I read this because of Ava from Ava's Romance Books. She talked about this book a lot in her videos, so I wanted to give it a whirl. And the whole series is on Anyplay, and I really liked the first book. And it is about a Fae king who can shapeshift, shifting Fae, but he also has a lot of magical powers. Anyway, the story is that his world, his land is dying, and he asks the god, like, what can I do to save my land? And he gets like a vision of his mate, and his mate happens to be in the human world. She is the daughter of a swordsmith, and he goes to her world. He tries to convince her that they are fated mates. And I love this book. I can't wait to read book 2. And I think the audiobooks are great. It's by C.L. Wilson, Lady of Darkness. And I also read this book because of Jess from Honest Fiction. I only read it because she said it reminded her from about from Blood and Ash, and having read it, I do say it does give me from Blood and Ash vibes. Heroine who's got taken in by the assassin lord, and something happens where she she has to get locked up, and in order to gain her freedom, she has to assassinate this general, and she makes a deal with the assassin lord. If she assassinates this general, that he will tell her who killed her mother. So that's what this book is. Said she does not like the Fae because she thinks the Fae killed her mother, but there is a very the book gives you many twists and turns. That's all I can say, and I liked it. I read The Choice by Ashley Jade, and I gave it 4 stars. It is about Memphis, Skylar, and Josh. If you have read the words, you know that Skylar was Josh's fiance, and Josh died, and Memphis was always pining for Skylar, but she chose his brother. And The Choice goes back to when they were kids, and in high school they grew up together as neighbors, and Skylar was from an abusive home, and Josh saves Skylar from that situation. So she begins a relationship with Josh when they are teens, but it turns out Josh, as they grow, isn't faithful to her, and she has feelings for Memphis, and it's a love triangle. It's messy. I love Memphis, but I hated Josh. So that's why it was okay for me, because I hated Josh, and I wanted her to choose Memphis. But if you don't like cheating in your books, don't read this book, because there is a lot of cheating. And I gave it 4 stars because I didn't know it was all going to take place at a young age and in high school. But I want to read The Consequence whenever it comes out. Under Locke by Mariana Zapata. If you guys don't know, there is a Mariana Zapata read along on Instagram run by Sam from Sam Reads a Little and Jess from Just Reads Romance on Instagram, and they are reading all of Mariana Zapata's books in publication order. And this month it was Under Locke. Under Locke is about Taylor, who just got fired from her job. She has no money, so she moves to Texas to be with her half-brother, and she gets a job car garage, and as a secretary, and the owner of the car garage happens to be Dex, her brother's best friend, and it's a romance between them. Dex is a part of a motorcycle club, so it's It's a motorcycle club romance, and I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. Hail Mary is about Mary and Leo. Mary and Leo are neighbors. Mary is a tattoo artist, and Mary and Leo used to have a past. They used to be online friends, but Leo does not remember her, and Mary is upset that he doesn't remember her, but something happens to Mary's apartment where she has to move in with Leo. So it's a second chance romance, forced proximity. I liked it. I gave it 4 stars, but Blindside is still my favorite. Bad Wrong Things for the Out of Bounds Book Club, run by McKay from Oh Hey It's McKay and Nikki from Nikki and Bookland, and it's a best friend's dad romance, and I did not like this book at all. I give this book 2 stars. Bad Wrong Things. Don't read it. It is terrible. Give Me Love, Remember Me by Corinne Michaels. It's her new series. Corinne Michaels can be a hit or miss author for me, but I've read 85% of her backlist, and I will continue to read her books just for the sake of wanting to be caught up in her releases. But I will say, I really love the Rose Canyon series. It's a romantic suspense series, and the mystery trickles all throughout the 3 books. And this is my second favorite series. Duet has to be the Consolation Duet. Let me know down below in the comments if you ever want me to do a guide to Corinne Michaels. Like I said, I've read 85% of her books. So let me know down below if you would be interested in about a guide to Corinne Michaels. But anyway, Remember Me is about Brielle, who woke up from a coma after 3 years. She woke up. She found out from a coma and lost the past 3 years of her memory. She doesn't remember anything that happened in the past 3 years. But people cannot tell her about her life because it will impede in her brother's murder investigation, and she doesn't remember, but she had a secret romance with her brother's best friend, Spencer. So she asked Spencer to help her find her brother's killer. Then Spencer is trying to help her without telling her about their romantic relationship because he is not allowed to tell her. I like this book. The mystery was good. I didn't see it coming. I didn't know who the murderer was. If you like romantic suspense, please read this book. The next book in that series is Give Me Love, and it is about the friend group, Emmett, and I forgot the heroine's name, Emmett and Brielle. No, not Brielle. Brielle is the heroine from book 1. But it also started with a B, and I can't remember her name. But it is a marriage of convenience. Emmett and the heroine served in the army together, and they were married, and they never got divorced. And she shows up at Emmett's door. Emmett asked her for a divorce because she didn't sign the divorce papers, but she comes to Emmett to help her with a missing persons case. And she came to Emmett because she thinks whoever is responsible for the murder in book 1 wasn't the mastermind of this book. So she comes to Emmett for help in this investigation. And she also, while trying to tell Emmett that she doesn't want to get their marriage annulled because she's in love with Emmett, but all her family members have passed away, so she's the only one left, and she's afraid to fall in love with Emmett because she's afraid he'll go away. But there is an overarching plot in these books, so please read through the end. And the called Keep This Promise, and it's about a runaway woman from London, and because her husband, who died, tells her that before he died, he tells her he's done some shady things and she needs to go away to protect herself. So he tells her to follow the directions on the letters he sent to her. So she goes all the way to Rose Canyon, and Holden is the person had a one-night stand with, and he is the biological father of her daughter, and so Holden stays with her because he got letters from her husband too, saying that he has to protect her. So all throughout the book, they're trying to figure out what the husband was involved with and who is trying to come after her. And I really like this series. I do have to say, you have to read the books in order because there is a bigger scope to this. I did not know who the major big bad was, and you won't know until the end. Those are all the books that I read in February. please let me know down in the comments below if you have read any of these books. And please let me know if you would want me to do a guide to Corinne Michaels. I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. That would mean the world to me. And I'll see you Monday. Bye.